gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Julia McCrossan, and if you just saw me come on a moment ago, a little bit early, it's an indication to you just what an enthusiast I am. I couldn't wait to come. It's my great pleasure to be your MC this afternoon because Jessica Rowe, unfortunately, was called away. Could we begin by acknowledging the great work that Jessica did in the earlier part of the day? Ladies and gentlemen, in our next segment, we're going to meet a number of people who've met enormous physical, mental and spiritual challenges, and we're going to hear about practical steps they took to deal with this with resilience and hope. Physical movement, of course, is often central to emotional well-being, and so we begin our afternoon with Zoran Kovic and colleagues. Zoran is an experienced Feldenkrais method teacher, originally an academic historian and philosopher, a professional dancer and a performing arts teacher. His passion now is physical movement. Would you please welcome a man who's going to get us moving in a very particular kind of way. Please welcome Zoran Kovic and his two colleagues. Thank you.
What a great introduction. It's good to be with you all here, and especially with Radha and Catherine, who'll be working with me a little bit. Now, how does movement relate to well-being? A lot of you have an answer for that, and we're going to be looking at one particular aspect of it. Let's start with a slide. Here's one of my favourite philosophers, Ludwig Wittgenstein, and this quote is gorgeous. So there are so many things that can be out of our awareness, and some of those things are really, really important, but yet we don't notice them. So I'm going to use this quote to pose a question. What is it that we're so familiar with, and yet it's out of our awareness? Here's the clue. Yeah, gorgeous smile, huh? Now, this little baby girl shows us something that really, life can be really full of movement. And what I want to focus on in this presentation with you is this. We are animate beings. It's so easy to forget, right? We're born, the moment we're conceived, we begin moving, and that animation doesn't stop until the day you die. So in your face. And yet, how quickly we forget ourselves as moving beings. So one of the things that I do as a Feldenkrais teacher is I help people to be empowered to form their movements as they want them to be. Because that's the basis of satisfaction. If you can't satisfy your intents, if you can't enact them, what are you left with? So, over the next couple of days, you're going to be doing a lot of sitting, a lot of listening, and would you like, at the end of this conference, to be like these guys and listen and be engaged like them? Or would you like to be like these guys? Which one? Bit of a no-brainer, isn't it? So, there's something about the way we animate ourselves when we listen. And really, you need to animate, you need to enact your listening. Whether you're knowing it or not, you are all doing something to pay attention to me, to look around the room, to remain engaged. Yeah? And one of the interesting things is in the cutting edge of research, they're realizing that the very foundation, the core of our ability to think, of our ability to feel, our ability to perceive, is movement. Now, how are we going to explore this? I could stand up here and give you a lecture, which I'm used to doing, but no amount of verbal description is going to replace first-hand experience. It just doesn't work like that. And movement is like that. No amount of talking about animation will give you the experience of feeling animated. So, we're coming up to the part where your participation is involved. Now, when I mention movement, some people, maybe a few of you, maybe more, think exercise. Well, what I'm doing with you this afternoon is a form of exercise, but it's quite different to what you expect. So, in this movement lesson that we're going to do together, exercise your ability to be kind to yourself. Exercise your ability to be creative with how you enact your intents. Exercise your ability to be content moment by moment with the sensations that arise as you move. Exercise that. And you'll be moving. So you ready to begin? Okay. Close your eyes. And bring yourself into mind. It's a short little phrase, but it's something that's really essential. Bring yourself into mind. Each of you will have a particular way of doing that. Notice what you do in order to listen. What do you do to enact, to bring about your listening, your engagement? How do you position your head relative to your shoulders in order to listen? Do you bring one eye more forward? Do you hear more clearly through one ear than the other? How do you position your legs, your feet, your arms? Sense that. Have you decided to rest into the backrest, or have you decided to be out of the backrest and sitting upright? And now, bring your attention to your breathing. That's probably a familiar thing for most of you. Pay attention to the out-breath. Pay attention to the in-breath. And pay attention to the spaces between the out-breath and the in-breath. How do you know that you're breathing? A philosopher's question, huh? How do you know that you're breathing? What's the evidence of your senses? What do you feel that informs you, that tells you that you are breathing? So I'm going to give you a suggestion. You don't have to do it straight away. Intentionally stop breathing. Notice what that feels like. And sure enough, in a few moments, the sensation's going to arise that tells you, I need air. Wait for that sensation to come up. Wait to experience it. And when it arrives, when it comes, allow yourself to breathe. And as you begin to breathe, how do you know you're breathing? What sensations are there that weren't there a moment ago? Now, let's repeat that, but with a little bit of a variation. Stop breathing, but this time stop when your lungs are full of air. Notice what that feels like. And when the sensation that tells you, ooh, I need air comes, allow yourself to breathe. One more variation. Stop breathing again, but this time at the end of the out-breath, when your lungs are empty. Wait for that moment that tells you, I need air. And when that moment comes, breathe. And now for a few moments, just be mindful of your breathing and notice, can you better answer that question? How do I know I'm breathing? Now, start to make a movement with all of yourself so that your chin gets a little closer to your chest and then your chin goes far, far away from your chest. And do that many, many times. Slowly, with awareness, and notice, how do you choreograph this movement for yourself? Is there a way of doing this movement that doesn't interfere with your breathing, that leaves your breathing free, easy, uninterrupted in its flow? Notice, what do you do with your neck? How do you involve your shoulders? How do you involve your spine, your torso, your pelvis? You can involve any or all of those places as you wish. Now, bring your head upright again. And this time, could you move yourself so that your right ear gets closer to your right shoulder and your left ear gets closer to your left shoulder? And go side to side like that. Involve as much of yourself as you like and form your movement so that it doesn't interfere with your breathing. That's the task, if you want to call it a task, or that's the investigation. Bring your head to the middle, upright again. If you want to, you can decide at any time to come out of the front back of your chair and sit in any way you like, if that's what you need to do to leave your breathing free. Now, start to pay attention to your breathing again and notice, how does your breathing affect the front of you? The front of your neck, the front of your chest, your abdomen. And then how does your breathing affect the back of you, the back of your neck, your lower back, the back of your chest, and your sides? Start to circle your head in any direction you choose. Start off with a small movement and gradually make it bigger and bigger and bigger. And notice that as you make the movement bigger, how does the front of you become involved? The back of you? The sides of you? How much can you involve so that you're satisfied with your breathing and with yourself, and that you can be content with what you're doing? Now, change the direction of the circle. And for some of you, this is not your first choice. What do you do when something is not your first choice? How do you make it so you that you go, yep, I can keep doing that? Now, bring your head to the middle. How do you know you're breathing? And how have you arranged yourself to listen now? Hopefully, throughout this conference, you'll be able to listen in a way that maintains your own comfort, and listen in a way that you continue to be kind to yourself. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a great time through the whole rest of this conference.